Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Yeah, not bad, thank you.
Thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it.
No worries. Nice to finally speak to you. I enjoy your
Yeah.
videos. Very, very
Thanks.
decent.
Try my
Very well
best.
thought out, very well produced.
Yeah, just trying to help people out, and that's it really. So
Yeah.
for anyone else who's joined in, welcome to this AMA with the Nervos Network team. Well, CN, he'll be here talking us through it all from my notes, but apparently the description can be varied because it's like so versatile. But Nervos is a unique layer one blockchain that's pushing the boundaries of interoperability, especially with Bitcoin through innovations like RGB++ and the UTXO stack. Today, CN is here to walk us through it all. So I'm looking forward to it, mate.
Yeah, looking forward to it too. It's going to be a bit of a tongue twister for a few of us in here. So,
yeah, just the RGB++. Yeah, it's
yeah, it was taken from the original RGB protocol written for Bitcoin, basically, and we kind of just improved it basically and just called it plus plus. I think that was just a decision from one of the other teams.
Well, yeah, if you know it makes sense because plus plus sounds like a double improvement to it.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. It's a bit. It does sound a bit wacky to some people, but I think when you're in the computer coding world, I think they add plus plus to quite a lot of stuff. I mean, I'm not the most technically minded, by the way. I'm more of the social community type manager. But I mean, I will answer what I can. So, and as easy and break it down as much as I can. So
Brilliant. Yeah. Well, yeah, I imagine if you're a coder and you just sort of see RGB in capital letters and the plus plus, it must be easy to understand.
yeah, definitely something like that. Anyway, yeah. So I'm CN and I do contract work in and around the CKB projects. I create and run various socials, organize community homegrown moderators from the grassroots perspective, meaning that we want people in house because Nervos is such a complicated project. You need to grow with it within the community to really understand it. It took me a couple of years to even understand it, before I had even sort of started getting involved with the community. So, yeah, I introduce projects and AMAs. We do them on Reddit.
Okay, cool.
I help the community better understand team projects. I'm not the most technical person, but Neon will be participating in shortly too. So that will be. Oh look, here he is. Nice, just on time.
Hey guys.
Hi Neon, how are you?
I'm all right. How are you, Rypto?
I'm all right as well, thanks. We just got started, so yeah, you're just in time.
All right, cool. Yeah, sorry I'm late.
Nah, it's fine. I know it's a hassle with all the time zones.
Yeah, there's all a bit of confusion, really.
Nah, it's all good. It's all good. Anyway, so before we sort of get things rolling, just want to remind everyone who's joined that there's a $100 giveaway, $100 in CKB, which is your coin. Hang on, Neon's back. Go on, it's back again. So yeah, there's a $100 giveaway for the best question. Best question here on the stream. That can be on X or on YouTube or on Twitch, but I think everyone's going to be on X. So drop any questions you've got, and CN or Neon will try to answer them. And there's a $100 giveaway for either the best or 50 for the top two. We'll see how things go and we'll choose. And then those winners will probably be announced in my Telegram channel. So to find out if you won, then you should have to join that. Brilliant. Neon, are you here?
I am here. Yeah, sorry. It just
okay. Yeah, I just saw you sort of disconnected, but you're back in. Brilliant. So first question. So for someone new to blockchain, can you explain what Nervos Network is in simple terms and why CKB matters to users and developers?
So we have so many descriptions to the projects. Like I mentioned earlier, You could ask 20 people within the foundation and you'll get 20 answers. So I'd like to think of CKB as an open source, decentralized public blockchain with proof of work. We have a virtual machine. It's very unique. I mean, it utilizes an open source instruction set called RISC-V. RISC-V is not used in many projects at the moment. It will be. Even Ethereum has made posts about converting, contracts to RISC-V. This makes it able to use any code to program dApps, basically. So essentially, it's a multi-language programmable infrastructure. Any blockchain language like Solidity, Rust, JavaScript, etc. Rust is more preferred, but it can be programmed in. So let's just say all other crypto projects only use one language. Yeah, we use a multitude of them. So it's perfect for the ability to be a layer 1 or a layer 2 for any other chain out there. This is very unique. We can block ourselves onto any blockchain if they need us, or even maybe as a parachain for Polkadot and things, all of these different projects. So it's just our superpower, really. And it's something that's really, it's very overlooked by most communities because everything's so tribal in crypto. Everyone wants to know that their project is the best pony in the race. It's just one of those things. We're trying to aim to connect all of these projects together, which is why I'm not shy in bringing in other projects and stuff and trying to teach them about it. Whether they want to learn or not is a totally different, kettle of fish. But it's a value storage network, so it's a secure digital vault in essence. CKB isn't just a currency; it's more like, let's say, digital land. By holding CKB, you own the right to store the data and the first-class assets, basically digital art and your identity. And for developers, it's digital land. It's valuable because they need it to build on chain. So 1 CKB equals 1 byte of information. So if they want to hold 500 bytes of information on chain, they have to use and lock in 500 CKB. So yeah, do you understand that? It's very unique. It's basically saying that if you want to launch loads and loads of projects, you've got to have the money to take up the state on the blockchain.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay, I got it now.
But instead of Ethereum, where they're reeling off thousands and thousands and thousands of projects and then just closing the projects and scamming people and stuff like that, actually going to cost you money to scam people.
Yeah. Okay. So that pump fund wouldn't work, for example, because they'd need to purchase that land to deploy their store. So let's look at it from another point of view. You could create a project using 1500 CKB, and if it fails, you can get that CKB back, and it could be a different price. So even in 4 years' time, you retain that CKB back to shut down the program, and it could be worth more, or it could be worth less. Because of the hyper volatility of crypto. So, and this is why CKB is exploring off-chain protocols to help payment networks scale, because scaling everything on one layer just doesn't really make much sense for any blockchain. So this is something the Bitcoin community is also doing, with the Lightning Network. And what about you, Neon? What does it mean to you? What extra things could you add?
Yeah, thanks for that. I mean, if I had to explain CKB in a really, really basic and easy to understand way, I would probably say if you look at Bitcoin and you take the security and the decentralization of Bitcoin, and you take then a smart contract platform like Ethereum, for example. It's not the best analogy, but as an example of a smart contract platform together, and then on top of that, if you add this what Crooked mentioned, which is this insane level of flexibility, then you get maybe halfway to understanding what CKB is. CKB is really unlike any other blockchain project out there, And in this AMA, you'll hear the same. It sounds like a buzzword almost. This kind of flexibility thing, but really CKB went. It looked at Bitcoin and it started. It saw where the industry was heading, which was more towards speed and like increasing transaction per second, because that's kind of you want to increase the throughput. And it saw that there were sacrifices being made along the way. So it went back to Bitcoin and it said, Bitcoin is really like our first principles. It's why that's why the industry started in the first place, is this idea of, you can interact peer to peer with other people and no other, no trusted third party in between. But Bitcoin is quite limited, so that's why smart contracts came in. But as I said, as the industry's kind of moved on, we've got into this problem of new layer ones and new projects coming out, but they're super fast, but they're having to sacrifice some of those core principles. Sometimes inadvertently, sometimes they don't know they're doing it. The industry and the technology is still really new, but CKB takes Bitcoin and then advances that in a different way. So instead of going down the route of trying to increase, transactions per second, we went down the route of trying to increase flexibility. Because if you look if I dumb this down as much as I can, if you look in the natural world, and natural selection and how animals and species survive, it's the most adaptable species that will last in the long term. Not necessarily the apex predators of the time; they often die out. But it's that species which is most adaptable, which can react to the environment. And CKB is one of those. It's something which really focuses on more towards innovation, something that embraces innovation. The newest technology, the newest protocols that come out, it's really easy to deploy that on CKB. Whereas on most other blockchains, you have to go through a significant consensus changes or hard fork changes. The whole network has to come to an agreement on it, which is really hard if it's something which could potentially break the blockchain. Whereas CKB has nothing like that. Because of its flexibility, it can pretty much adopt any protocol. It can talk to any blockchain, which makes it, in my view, it puts it in a completely different league when it comes to other projects. And the strength of CKB is in its longevity. If as a protocol, you can adopt like quantum resistance, which is what CKB can do. In fact, it's already adopted quantum resistance. If you can adopt new protocols that are coming out, automatically you stay relevant. Whereas other blockchains in your class, if that makes sense, become less and less relevant. They fall out of favor. And so, like in a nutshell, that's kind of where CKB, I think, stands out, and what the kind of essence of CKB is.
Yeah, it sounds like it's like the next gen of crypto, right? It's
and the point is we were built with it. Like, it's from the start, we were way ahead of everyone. I mean, the project's 7 years old now. We have one coder who works with Jan, and he decided to use the RISC-V flexibility instruction set, and it's just kind of everyone's starting to come around to that now after like 5-6 years. So it's going to be an interesting future for us once Definitely. Everyone learns how to deal with the technology.
Yeah, because RISC-V is that multi-language aspect of it.
Yes, yeah, that basically, it's basically the EVM is like an emulator, and we're like basically a computer, really, that figures everything out, can match everything together. That's the flexibility that we have. So
yeah, that's what I understand the virtual machines are, right? So brilliant. Yeah, cool. So anyway, we're going to move on to the next question, which is a little bit about RGB++, which we talked about before. So I've heard that Nervos is connected to Bitcoin through this RGB++. Can you explain in a beginner-friendly way how it works and why it's exciting?
Yeah, I mean, so if you think of Bitcoin as digital gold in a vault, It's extremely secure, but you can't do much with the gold inside. RGB++ is an innovative magic contract. It kind of lets you attach complex instructions and features without ever moving it from the vault. So,
Okay.
yeah, and so it means it's without sacrificing Bitcoin's security. So specifically, RGB++ cleverly uses CKB's flexibility, offloads some of the computational work for a Bitcoin asset transaction, like issuing a stable coin, for instance, to CKB. The best bit is the final ownership of that asset remains securely locked on the Bitcoin network. So it's quite exciting because it massively expands what Bitcoin can do. It's basically a programmability layer for Bitcoin, without taking up too much space on Bitcoin. Basically, it allows Bitcoin to support smart contracts, NFTs,
Okay.
and whilst inheriting the security of the Bitcoin network. And you know, it's very difficult to get through to Bitcoiners because, like me, they used to be maxis, and you know, Bitcoin is the only way for them. But you know, at some point, something's got to give, and lots of people are trying to do their layer twos on Bitcoin too. The difference between them and us is we'll open up a huge design space for the entire Bitcoin ecosystem, and it's bridgeless. We all know what bridges get hacked all the time. You know, bridges are the bane actually of crypto at the moment. You see them get hacked all the time, unless it's, you know, some novel new bridge that's also controlled by humans as well as like an intermediary. So I think like where we stand with Bitcoin at the moment is we can just give it new ideas basically and just give it a new angle. You know, lots of other layers, as I said, when they use the bridges and stuff, everything's still clunky. You still have to move things across that bridge and back. With us, you can just do everything instantly, and you can do it through Joy ID as well. So Joy ID, the wallet, is actually
that wallet, right?
Yeah, actually, you can do everything through there.
Sounds
Leon?
cool. Yeah, I don't know if I fully got my brain around it, but yeah, I'll definitely look into it a bit further.
Keep fiddling around with Joy ID because it seems it's one of those wallets where if more gets added to it, it's going to become more difficult to use, I think. So it's best to start using it now and start fiddling through it because eventually it will become a little bit more complex, I believe.
Joy ID is the wallet, yeah. So if anyone's listening, you might want to check that out now if you've got time. I think I actually made a video on Joy ID the other day. I'm pretty sure I did. So yeah, if you want to scroll through my X, you might find that there for anyone listening as well. Brilliant. We're going to move on to the next question now as well. So as a new CKB holder, what are some simple ways that people can get involved into the Nervos community and start using up the network? Are there any like real world examples of how someone might use the D app on Nervos, like for payments or NFTs or in their daily lives?
Well, the obvious step, first of all, is to like join our community channels, Discord, the main Telegram. We're a friendly bunch in Nervos Nation, which is Neon's community, which he runs. This is where the heart is for the Western community to participate in discussions. Alternatively, if you're Chinese or you are from another country, you can just type in to the main Nervos account, Telegram account, and we'll put you into a room with a bot. Like the bot will put you into a room basically for that country. But generally, most people in blockchain follow English, or Chinese. So, you know, that's the best way to do that. And beyond that, sort of download and check out Joy ID wallet. Like I said, it's a very simple wallet you can make with your biometrics, which is another innovative thing that we'll talk about later. The Nervos DAO is where anyone can make a collective proposal, you know, and that's through a website called the Talk Forum. We'll provide all the links later for you, and you can post it in another video or something. And basically, you can make a proposal to the community. It takes a certain amount of votes. It goes through a 2-stage process, and then people use their wallets, sign a signature, and they vote yes or no. And it's weighted through how much CKB you own, basically. And you have to like achieve a threshold for that proposal to go through. And then what happens is then that would inspire young newcomers and that to build dApps or do some marketing plans or something like that. But as long as you get on with the community and, you know, you present it nicely, you tell them why you think, you know, your project needs funding and stuff like that. And then you'll have a little bit of a rabble with a few people on there asking you questions. And then everyone will take their final vote. And some people get CKB to pay for their proposals, and some people don't. Some people are scammers, you know, or they can create NFT projects and ask the community to fund them. But if you were more interested in the future, keep an eye on the community initiatives. There's going to be a fostering of a new platform for developers and users to discuss and experiment with future Web5 applications. A lot of people talk about Web3.
I was going to ask what Web5 was.
Yeah, so Web5 is something that Jack Dorsey said on Twitter, which was Web2 plus Web3 equals Web5. So it's basically the combination of using Web2 and Web3 to generate a business using blockchain.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and I think Neon's got some more additions to.
Yeah. So we've already heard about, like, if someone's new to the community, they can join us on our socials, Telegram and Discord, and a talk forum as well. I'm sure we'll share the links at the end or whatever. Rypto, I think you'll be able to do that. But like, if you have you know, something that you want to do on the blockchain, you've got there's a really good website actually called ckbdapps.com. And there's dozens, if not hundreds, of different applications on there, or different things that you can do with CKB. One of the most popular, has already been mentioned, is Joy ID, which is one of the. I mean, it's a really simple, easy to use wallet, because as has been mentioned already, there's no seed phrase, no password. You literally, the way you use passkey, which is like standard for like Apple phones and Google phones. You know, you just put in the code or use your fingerprint or whatever to log into your phone. That's the only authorization that you need to access your funds or access your wallet. So it's super easy. It takes literally about 5 to 10 seconds to actually set up, and so it's a very user friendly wallet. There's lots of different other things. Like we have a NFT marketplace called Imagination, where people can create different NFTs. We have a very unique type of vision when it comes to NFTs. The NFTs, like if you look at Ethereum and other blockchains, the NFTs are basically valued based on social consensus. What people think its value is, or whatever it sells for on OpenSea is what it will go for. Whereas with NFTs on CKB actually have an intrinsic value to them. There's a certain standard where you have to actually deposit CKB into your NFT so that it has a floor value to it, which means that if you purchase an NFT, you could potentially just melt it and get the CKB used that was to create it back. So it will never go to zero. This is one of the problems with NFTs in the space generally, is that it's kind of like sometimes it's passing the hot potato. It's kind of like you just sell it when it's hot, and then if the market dips or opinions change about it, it's down to zero. So it can be risky from that perspective. Whereas CKB, the NFTs are completely different, and so it's kind of like because it's the value storage, it means that you can just retain value in something. Even if you're not selling it straight away, you can sell it in the long term, for example. Another really interesting project on CKB is DID. So CKB, one of the strong use cases for CKB, because of this idea of it as like digital storage, is identity. And so with CKB, you can create your own DID. And you can access it using pretty much any wallet, any of the major wallets. If you have MetaMask, if you have a lot of the other wallets that belong to other blockchains like Solana, if you use Phantom Wallet, for example, or Doge-related wallets, you can use those existing wallets to access, create, and then possess a DID. So this goes back to, again, this topic that we'll be coming back to, is the kind of flexibility of CKB, is that it's open to people from all blockchains. You don't necessarily need to have a CKB wallet to get started. You could have, you know, an OKX wallet, you could have, you know, MetaMask or another wallet. And with that same login credentials that you use to access your MetaMask, you can just access and talk to CKB, for example. So it's really cool from that perspective. And that's the only DID product out there that I know that does that type of thing. So it's a really cool and innovative project. The last thing I'll say.
Oh, sorry, go on. Yeah.
Yeah, the last thing I'll say before I stop is that one thing that we're really focused on in CKB is the community and empowering the community. So we have, so I founded something called the Nervos Community Catalyst, which is a way for content creators, activists, builders, developers, if they kind of want to get started on doing something productive within the community, there's funding available for them to do that. And so that's been taking off over the past couple of months. And it's seeing a lot of traction take off. So it's kind of putting the future of CKB, you know, we talk about decentralization, and that's where CKB is, you know, aspiring towards on a blockchain level, on a social level, is kind of empowering the community. So we're not relying on one particular team. There's multiple different entities that sprout up as more of a grassroots type of movement. So there's that as well. If anyone's like a content creator, for example, you can actually get paid to help drive things forward. So yeah.
Yeah, but I just wanted to add something about the. I wanted to give you an example of the DID. So you could look for something called Rypto.bit as your username, okay, and then you can receive over 20 different cryptos in that same digital container. Okay. So if someone wants to send you Ethereum, it will go to Rypto.bit. If someone wanted to send you Cardano, for instance, or I don't think Cardano's there, it might not be yet, but lots of other different crypto are already programmed in. So instead of going to each blockchain and having your own digital identity for each blockchain, you've got one digital identity for everyone.
Okay, so you don't need a Solana address, an Ethereum address, and
just
Rypto.bit, and I can access that through different wallets as well.
Through mainly most of the CKB wallets, and there are a few wallets on their website that also have updated to that protocol. In a way that you would have an Ethereum address, yeah, and you would put that into your Rypto.bit. Yeah, so it would say you still need those addresses, but you would receive them all under one DID, basically.
Okay,
and send.
Yeah, so it still makes things much easier and less frightening, maybe, because I think that's sort of something that might be a bit of an inconvenience for onboarding, like people who aren't in crypto, right? It's, you know, you need to get the address right. If it's wrong, you know, funds are gone forever, and I think that might make people a little bit nervous.
Yeah, I think it's the pinnacle of kind of interoperability. Really, that's kind of what you want.
Yeah,
a wallet passport for everyone.
Yeah, like a passport. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Yes, that's pretty unique. I like that. I also like the NFT like floor price thing, because like basically you can, I don't know if you can mint like an NFT for like $100,000 in CKB and just like hold that amount of CKB but in an NFT instead of holding it in tokens. Right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. And, they call it
like
spores.
Holding like the number. You hold like the NFT, which has the same value, and then, you know, if you're hoping the price goes up, then you're riding it, but in an NFT, not in the numbers.
Yeah, they're actually called spores, and you could give them away as giveaways, or they could be a ticket for a concert or something like that. You know, or you know, it'd be interesting. You could probably... Sorry,
spores? Did you say
spore? Yeah, they're called a spore.
Yeah, that's for the NFT.
Yeah, spore NFTs. Yeah. And you can mint your own.
And what do you say about the ticket for? Like,
I mean, like. I think like in the future, if you had links to something, you know, I know one of the biggest problems in blockchain is people don't have those little black book of contacts. Yeah, it's the reason why people struggle in blockchain. To make these NFTs famous, you need a book publisher, or you need to know someone, you know, to create a children's book, for instance, with, you know, with those penguin NFTs and stuff like that. If you've got the contacts and stuff like that, you can possibly, you know, convince them to spore their tickets. And then give them as a value extraction, basically, mechanism. These are just ideas. People haven't brought these ideas to fruition yet, just exactly for the same reason. You know, we have a lot of people inventing projects, but not enough entrepreneurs with contacts. You know, crypto people don't go through the general filter system, do they? You know, most people that are in crypto never went to university, or you know, we sit here on our microphones, and that I certainly didn't go to university or anything like that. And so we passed that filter system. That filter system is what gives you the contacts really in life.
Probably, yeah. And that's why I go to the conferences, because that's where you sort of get to do a bit of networking. I think CKB was at Singapore last year. I'm not sure if it was you guys or someone who built on CKB. I'm not sure.
That would be the Chinese side.
Side. Yeah, I think he didn't speak English, so that's why. Maybe he did. I don't know. I can't remember very well, but yeah,
that was probably Hong Su. That was probably Hong Su. Yeah, he's that's the eastern side. And sometimes we come together, and sometimes we don't. You know, it's a decentralized environment. You know, even people within foundations sometimes don't talk to each other for a couple of weeks, because they're all in their little holes doing beavering away. And that's just like decentralization is the opposite to centralization. Yeah, it's not as coordinated. It's kind of a mess. But that's the beauty of it. It involves different communities with different perspectives, and that's what kind of drives the project more outwardsly equally, rather than just one way.
Yeah, and that's why everyone participating and helping out is so important.
Yeah.
Before we continue, I'm just going to remind everyone about the $100 giveaway that we have of CKB for the best question or questions. So it's going to be like 100 for one person or 50 for two. We'll see what we're doing for time. So that'll be $100 worth of CKB. Winner will be announced in my Telegram. So to find out if you win or not, head over there and good luck. Remember to drop those questions here on X or YouTube or Twitch. Going on to the next question, and it's about what sets Nervos apart from other layer 1 blockchains like Ethereum, Solana, in terms of its design, philosophy, and long-term goals. I imagine we've more or less touched on them already, but just to make it a little bit more clear and more direct.
Nowhere near touched on them. There are so many things. I mean, I was talking with two other people, and they wrote some other stuff, and I was like, well, that's not what I think is the most unique. So for me, the tokenomics is like the most unique system for us. They're designed to pay the miner. They pay the people who lock their tokens in the DAO to avoid inflation. And eventually, when CKB votes the hard fork, basically, the fixed issuance schedule kicks in. Tokens will provide CKB for the ecosystem treasury to be bolstered via the DAO process. So, in other words, no VCs are needed to build. They can be distributed through the DAO, and this happens every 4 years. So it's programmed and unchangeable. So I think if millions get printed every 4 years and they go in the treasury, so you can upkeep it. So developers can come in, they can do proposals and stuff. You don't need to get up on a stage and preach to a VC or Dragon's Den and say, hey, give me the money. I want to build this interesting product on the blockchain. Everything can be done from our own treasury, which is self-generating. No one's got this. I don't know any blockchain that's got this at the moment. I don't know whether we don't know how it will pan out. But we do know that there will be CKB every 4 years. So basically, when the foundation closes, and it will, just like Litecoin, when their leader left Litecoin and left it to become decentralized, it will happen with CKB too, and it will be happening in the next few years. And when that happens, the community would all vote and say, "Hey, we've run out of funds. Let's initiate the issuance schedule." So everybody votes with their wallets. The DAO changes to DAO 2.0. And then everyone starts vying for CKB to start building. There will be lots of roles. People that want to manage the socials on X, the official social, will probably be up for voting. So someone might get paid to do that every year. Then they'll get voted out again. Someone to control Reddit. Someone to be like the D-reps for Cardano that will want to bring in projects. They will ask for money to go out and work to bring in projects. to bring in, and for other developers to apply to create new dApps using RISC-V. And that's very unique, you know. No more lots of wasted money coming from outside. You know, if times are hard, for instance, and crypto goes up, VCs don't want to be investing in this technology. It will all be self-propelling, basically, and that's the most key thing for me. And Ethereum, Solana, and that, they can keep frittering away money out from the outside people, and we'll be doing it internally, and we'll be laughing at everyone, really, in a sense, because, you know, it's built into our tokenomics. The other interesting thing is that we're already built with quantum resistance flexibility. So there's already a quantum resistant wallet developed. It's getting rolled out more and more. They're updating it more. So, you know, CKB really looking to be future proof technically and fiscally, you know, financially, basically, and creating scarcity over time, because there will be halvings. Don't forget, you know, the issuance schedule is quite intense in the first 8 years. Yeah, but then there will be halvings and halvings and halvings, and eventually infinity will turn into scarcity.
Yes.
It stages down. Yeah. So this is something that Bitcoin doesn't do, because what happens to Bitcoin once the miners have mined all the blocks, for instance? Let's just say the world still exists when the last block is mined. Yeah. Who's going to stabilize the network? Are the miners going to want to keep pumping electricity for free? They're already looking into solutions. Even they're looking into using, I saw some proposal the other day, which is absolutely bizarre. And they were saying to retrieve, using quantum computers, the locked up Bitcoin.
Oh,
basically.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And adding it back to the system. And I was just sitting there thinking, that's just so anti-crypto. Like, it's just unbelievable. You know, I saw this, someone wrote a thesis on it, and they presented it at Bitcoin Prague, believe it or not. And I was just sitting there thinking, I bet Saylor was thinking, oh my God, like, you're going to add more value. I've just been buying like nearly 1 million Bitcoin, and you're thinking about trying to retrieve Satoshis, you know? It's absolutely insane. So I think that's my biggest take on it. I think Neon's probably got something far more complex.
Well, hang on. Before Neon goes, so the treasury. So what's the supply now, and how much is in circulation? Because the treasury is funded from newly mined CKB, or is it from fees?
Neon can deal with this
Or
one.
am I wrong? All right. Okay.
Yeah, I mean so the circulation is comprised of two things. It's like Bitcoin, there's like this block issuance. So there's an issuance that is provided per each block mined. And then there's a secondary issuance, which is just like a fixed rate, that's also provided, that's kind of provided just perpetually. So the way it works is that you will eventually, every 4 years, you have a halving like Bitcoin, and this primary issuance will be halved and halved until it reaches, until it ends. But the secondary issuance is something that just persists, and it's from that secondary issuance that you get this fund for a treasury for stuff for the community to do. So the current like circulating supply is 44 billion or something like that. And the issuance of the secondary issuance amounts to, I think, 1.3 billion or something. I'm doing this from memory, so just forgive me if it's completely wrong. But yeah, that's the in a nutshell the issuance schedule. So initially, like much like Bitcoin, it's quite high in terms of the inflation, but you get that reducing quite severe. So we're already past the first halving, and the second halving is coming up in a couple of years now. And I think the current issuance percentage of that, the percentage inflation of that is like 6% or something. So when it's halved, it'll become to 3%, and then it just halves and halves. So on, CKD becomes more scarce, not just from that perspective, but also this idea that Cricket mentioned before, which is that as the network grows and more data is stored on the network, you need CKB for every single byte of that data to be locked away. So as the network grows, CKB is automatically so reducing the circulating supply of CKB. or increases the scarcity, I should say. But that hopefully gives you an idea in a nutshell of the tokenomics.
Yeah, I got a bit of an idea. Yeah. Is there anything
Yeah.
that makes it stand out for you, Neon?
Yeah, I got a sidetrack there. Anyway, so what I would say is really coming back to the flexibility thing, like like I say, all the other blockchains, if you look at the new layer ones coming out, it's okay, we can do now like 1 million TPS, we can do 2 million TPS. Okay, now that generation of blockchains, they're only going to be relevant for a certain period of time until the next generation comes out who are doing 10 million and 20 million. And so like it's this constant as technology and hardware gets better, the TPS will increase, but also the centralization increases as well. So again, we go back to the Bitcoin thesis, but really we went a different way. We focused more on flexibility because that helps us to embrace innovation without making any changes. So users and developers on CKB can be fairly confident that the general infrastructure is going to stay the same, but we'll be able to still be quantum resistant. We can support Apple passkeys, these types of things most blockchains only dream about. And in fact, the reason this is even more relevant is I'm not sure if you saw, but Vitalik recently made a post on the Ethereum message boards saying that they wanted to switch to RISC-V, much like CKB. He actually cites CKB as as part of the inspiration for that, because of the fact that they see that the EVM Ethereum virtual machine kind of is has its days numbered, really. And then you think all of these copycat blockchains, all of these Ethereum layer 2s have kind of put all of their put everything gone all in on EVM, and now Vitalik is kind of saying, oh, we need to change course, we need to be more like CKB, which is pretty much what he said. That's a real vindication of our design choices and the way we kind of see the industry moving forward. And I hope in future that more blockchains will come to that realization that you can only get so fast before someone else outruns you. It's better to be really flexible and interoperable and embracing of innovation, and that will set you apart in a completely different way.
Yeah. So brilliant. Personally, I think the quantum resistant wallet thing is the most exciting thing for me, because I'm a bit worried about this quantum computers coming in and wiping all our crypto out and guessing our seed phrases in 2 seconds. So the quantum resistant wallet is what's for me at least what makes me most excited.
Yeah, I mean, we have a new version. I'll actually DM you it later, Rypto, and you can play around.
Nice. Yeah, I'll get a video out as well, because I think people need to know about that as soon as possible. I'm not sure when those quantum computers will be out, but I don't want to be waiting around. If you want to do one more question, then we'll choose one from the comments. There's quite a few comments I've seen. There's quite a few comments come in, so maybe you can choose one from there, or I'll choose one, and then we'll probably wrap up. It's been about an hour, and then you have to come back another day and dive into some more questions, because I've got quite a few left. So,
we'd love to come back. It will, it could be like a series of AMAs, because, like I said, Nervos, you need a degree.
Well, I'm learning a lot, because it's still one of those ones that, there's a lot to it, So last one for today is about the blockchain trilemma, which again was mentioned more or less before. So how does Nervos address the blockchain trilemma, which is security, decentralization, and stability? And what trade-offs are involved, if any?
Well, I mean, there are trade-offs. There are always trade-offs.
That's a trilemma, right?
That's why it's got Emma on the end. I mean, flexibility is one of the biggest concerns for CKB, really. Nervos addresses the trilemma basically through layered architecture. So, it's designed not to try and solve anything on one layer, as I mentioned earlier. Instead, it makes clear trade-offs. It assigns different tasks to different layers. Some people would classify it as modular. That was a buzzword that was floating around last year by a few projects. We had other layers as well, but we decided that we didn't like bridges, so we got rid of them, like Godwoken and Axon. We basically shut them down now because we've realised that bridgeless was the way forward. So the layer 1, the CKB chain, basically prioritizes the security and the decentralization. And the security is obviously proof of work is far superior to proof of stake, according to our team and according to our philosophy. The trade-off is that layer 1 kind of has limited scalability. Quell surprise. It's not designed for high TPS, transaction throughput. And it's, some people will be like, oh, well, Solana has 8 billion transactions, in 1 minute and all this. And, our blockchain doesn't really, is not structured like that. The layer 2 is where it delegates the task for scalability for another layer. Yeah. With technologies like RGB++ that we mentioned earlier, Lightning Network, which is off-chain scaling, Fiber Network, which is being upgraded as we speak, and they're working on it further and further. Then we have another one called Perun, something you could probably talk about like in another dimension, in another timeline. These are high speed, low cost transactions, and while they're anchored by the final security layer 1. So for us, we believe that scalability is through off chain. This layered strategy basically allows CKB to optimize for different goals at different levels. So designating different jobs to different people, basically, to try to get one job done. But I suppose it's like basically carrying a bucket of cement. Instead of you walking for a mile to carry that bucket of cement, you give that bucket of cement to 2 people and one person passes it to the next person. Well, basically, that's kind of what CKB is trying to do with scalability. And it achieves a better overall balance of the 3 elements instead of making painful compromises on one chain. You can spread out the compromises and minimize them more. So, not all put your eggs in one basket, as they say, Rypto,
Yeah.
that older adage.
Brilliant. So I don't know if you can see the questions. If not, I'll choose one. I've seen a couple around which I like. Community questions. So you want to choose, or should I choose? I've seen one here by Kevin Pipsy, which I'm not sure about if this is true or not, but it says that is Nervos going to link up with other blockchains beside just Bitcoin and Ethereum? I don't know if you are already, or I don't know how, I don't know the facts here, but is that a legit question? A good one?
Yeah, I think
Yes, I take this one.
You can take this, Neon.
Yeah. So there's different ways to connect to other blockchains. You can do through bridges. You can do through bridgeless architecture, which is what RGB++ is. So if it's a UTXO blockchain, so without complicating it further, but if it's a blockchain like Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash or Dogecoin or other similar types of blockchains, that we can, in theory, connect to those in a bridgeless way, much like we've done with Bitcoin. If it's other type of blockchains like Ethereum, Cardano, then there are proposals in the community to bridge to those through new types of bridging architecture. Actually, so there's actually a proposal that's going through right now, or it's actually being discussed in the community, and there are plans to join it. It's called Rosen Bridge, and through that will give us connections to lots of other blockchains which are already added to Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Cardano, and others as well. So the good thing about CKB is that we're able to. It doesn't have to be one technique. It can be lots of connect to other blockchains. So there are things on the horizon. And yeah, as I mentioned, as Cricket mentioned before, we're also quite highly integrated with Lightning Network through something that's coming out called Fiber Network. So it's basically like an advanced version of Lightning, you can imagine, but also compatible with existing Lightning architecture. But it will allow for, sending, receiving of stable coins, for example, with high throughput. So there's lots of different ways that CKB can connect, and there are plans to do more connections with other blockchains for sure.
Brilliant,
Yeah,
brilliant.
and I think
Sounds
like
good.
it's important to know as well. Like 99% of blockchains will fail of the projects, and picking just partnering and joining up with random blockchains here, there, and everywhere. Eventually, where is it going to get us? If those projects fail, for instance, then we've wasted all that time and energy. Connecting with poo coin or some rando coin from up the road. I think the plan is to build up more with Dogecoin as well, to try to mingle in with their community. Already you can use Dogecoin and stuff on Joy ID. So yeah, I think in the future all of this stuff will come to fruition. It will be done more through community initiatives as well, like Neon said, because obviously when the foundation closes, there won't be that third man in the middle, going up to someone and saying, hey, let's do a partnership. It'll be down to the community to suggest it and the community to vote on it. And, crypto is all about community at the end of the day. Believe it, if you've got a centralized team, we believe in the bus crash analogy. If everyone on the bus dies tomorrow, would CKB still live on? And that's the way we want it. We want to be able to say, hey, look, other coders from China can join in, other coders from Australia can join in. If our team disappears tomorrow, CKB won't disappear. It's open sourced and accessible to everyone, and that's the main goal.
We'll live on. Brilliant, cool. So anyway, we'll wrap up in a minute because it's sort of getting on, and we all got stuff to do, unfortunately. But before we go, is there anything you want to tell the people who are in here listening right now? I imagine typical stuff to join community, join Telegram, Discord, and get involved. But anything else, then you can have a couple minutes to say something.
No, I just like to emphasize, really, like the goal is to make the ecosystem really easy accessible to everyone everywhere. We've just had a hard fork. We're hoping that it's making programming easier. We're a long-term vision. It's not just like we're waiting for a lot of projects to fail as well, to a certain degree, and we want to still be standing. I'd like to see CKB as like the Grand National. There's like 50 horses or 100 horses running, and we want to be that one that makes it to the end. And I thank all of the community that stuck around, the patience that they've given us. We've changed from narrative to narrative, from year to year. It's been very difficult in that aspect, because you're marketing something and then all of a sudden someone says, oh, but what about RWA projects, or what about this? And then it's like, oh, hold on a second, CKB can do this. And sometimes, when there's so many different narratives, it's all a bit daunting for the average investor. So I just like to say thank you to everyone, for sticking with us. I understand, Rypto, CKB was your first investment, wasn't it?
Well, probably not, but one of them probably.
Very good, very good. It's nice to hear. It's nice to hear.
Yeah, I think I got I did a video on it today. I think my first one was some Stellar Lumens like that. I got on Coinbase for free for doing a quiz. I got 20 cents or whatever, but yeah, that was enough to hook me. Yeah, and here I am,
So that's what got you started, was it? That you just got some micro payment and that got you
they had a reward program, and you had to read some information, and they had a little test at the end, and if you got all the questions right, 4 questions, if you got all the questions right, you were rewarded 20 cents worth. But yeah, it was logging into Coinbase every day, seeing if it was going up and down. Then and here I am. Yeah,
Oh, interesting. Well, thanks for having us on your platform. Anyway.
Oh no, thank you guys for joining, because it's yeah, I really want to just ideas to help people understand more about the whole ecosystem, about the whole space. There's so much to crypto and so many projects, and I just want to help you guys out. I want to help investors out. I just want to help everyone out. That's the idea. So that's what I'm trying to do. Just fill in the gaps, really. So yeah, thank you for coming on, because I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's nice the fact that we're all Brits as well. Like, it's not often you get to talk about crypto between a bunch of English guys.
Yeah, actually, I think it's a surprisingly high amount of Brits in crypto, compared to how big the world is.
It's interesting, because when I first got into crypto, it was all American, and now, like, it's nice to see. I used to go to loads of meetups all the time, and everyone was American and stuff. We're still really behind in the scene in England. I go there and it's just people with suits and ties still. And they're trying to give the corporate vibe, like women in Louboutin shoes and stuff like that. And when you go to America, and probably over in Spain and that, it's a lot more informal. It's a lot more like crypto, basically. So hopefully,
I do try to dress the part when I go, but yeah, I feel overdressed. Not gonna lie.
Definitely.
All right. So anyway, Neil, thank you for joining as well, mate. And
thanks for having us on.
That's all right, mate. And we'll wrap it up here. So thank you everyone for listening. Hope you all learned a lot and learned more about Nervos. And I'll keep this AMA up so people can watch through again if they want. I'll also be uploading some clips as well, hopefully of the best bits or more focused on the shorter bits. So so thanks for you guys for joining. Thank everyone for watching, and catch everyone in the next one.
Thank you very much. Bye, guys.
Bye.
I think